My friends, America has spoken, and I'm listening. And so are you. Welcome to Real Truth. I am Howard Real. America was speaking loud and clear yesterday afternoon when Donald Trump spoke to a packed house in North Carolina. He was talking about the squad, those four America-hating female Congress members who cannot spew enough hate and vitriol and anti-Semitism in only 24 hours, so they work overtime. Well, Donald Trump has called them on their hate and on their despising Americans. He called them on it. And, you know, the first blush was, oh, how could Donald Trump say such a thing? What did he say? He said they should go back where they came from. Well, if you were watching Trump's rally yesterday, as I was, you heard America speak. Here's how RealClearPolitics.com tells it. I quote, attendees at a Make America Great campaign rally Wednesday night in Greenville, North Carolina, chanted, send her back, after President Trump trashed Representative Ilhan Omar, Democrat from Minnesota, claiming she is not proud of America and she wouldn't disavow Al-Qaeda in an interview. Prior to his departure this afternoon, the president said he's winning the feud with Representative Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, Democrat from New York, and her squad, promising that he will, quote, never change. My friends, the exuberance in the voices of the patriotic Americans who filed in to hear what the president had to say, send her back. I think Americans have had just about enough of people coming here from other countries, taking, asking for and taking still again, and then trashing America. And I'm not even talking about Ilhan Omar's anti-Semitic tirades that she's gone on again and again and again. She is no positive for the United States of America, and one can only wonder about the nitwits who voted for her in Minnesota. The way I understand it, it was a heavy Somali turnout that voted for her. Well, hopefully we'll be able to do something about that too. But the crowd was definitely with the president. They chanted, send her back. And speaking, by the way, of America speaking, what about Congress speaking? I know, I feel the same way about Congress you do, but once in a while they get it right. From NBC News, the House voted on Wednesday to table a resolution from Representative Al Green, Democrat, Texas, to impeach President Donald Trump over racist comments he made about 4 Democratic congressmen of color, effectively killing the measure. Stop. First of all, let's fix the error. They were not racist comments. They were not an attack, and they were not racist comments. Telling someone to go back to his or her country says nothing at all about race. Where do you hear race in that? If someone from Sweden or Denmark came here and started trashing America, I would tell, and the president would tell them to get the hell out. How much more so if they sit in the hallowed halls of Congress? Al Green, moron congressman from Texas. One of many, hard to pick out in the crowd, one of many morons on the Democrat side. He wanted to impeach Trump because Trump wasn't nice. Well, you know, I read the Constitution, turned it upside down, backwards. I could not find any articles of impeachment having to do with someone saying things that aren't nice. Treason and high crimes and misdemeanors, those will get a president impeached. Saying something that offends you, Al, I don't know you. I don't know if you graduated from high school or not. I don't know if you ever took a civics course in your life. I know that you've gotten where you've gotten in politics by playing the race card again and again and again and again, but you don't seem to know a whole hell of a lot. Let me continue. The vote, 332 to 95, with one lawmaker voting present, marked the first time the Democrat-controlled chamber had weighed in on impeachment, an issue that's created a widening schism within the party. That's true, my friends. There is a schism within the Democrat Party. You got one portion of the Democrats in the House who are really, really stupid. Then you got another portion who are even more stupid. The only thing that brings Democrats in the House together is the fact that they don't give a rat's ass about America. All they want is power, and they figure they can tell enough lies to convince you to vote for them. Well, They weren't counting on Howard Real and Real Truth, because I am here to counter their lies with truth. Progressive newcomers, and several 2020 candidates have pushed for impeachment proceedings, but the House leadership, including Speaker Nancy Pelosi, has been resistant. Unquote. Nancy Pelosi is a slime. She is snot on a doorknob, but at least she knows the law. At least she knows you can't impeach a president because you feel like it. We'll try convincing Democrats of that. Democrats are liberals, and liberals are people who do everything and anything because they feel like it. May not jive with reality, may have no logic, may not be good for the United States of America. In fact, it probably won't be. But if they feel like it, then it's the right thing to do, like open borders, like sanctuary cities, like the Green New Deal, like raising everybody's taxes. All the evidence shows, and history proves, all those things are destructive. They would all be poison for America, but Democrats, well, they really feel like they want to do it. And so they're going to do it. And they're going to try and convince you to do it. Fortunately, you have people like myself, forgive me, and like Rush Limbaugh, Sean Hannity, and Mark Levin, and Laura Ingraham, and Ann Coulter out there spreading truth, telling the truth. Ilhan Omar, Ayanna Pressley, Rashida Tlaib, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, they are net minuses for the United States of America. What bothers me more than those losers are all the losers who voted for them, because those are people who probably will continue to vote. They are as stupid as a bag of rocks. They almost certainly despise America and Americans. And that's something we have to overcome. How do we do that? Real simple. We support the candidates, the Republican Party. We go out and vote. We bring friends and family and neighbors and coworkers to come vote for the Republicans. We get rid of the Democrats. And then we can really go to work on making this country great. It's Thursday. It's Real Truth. I'll be right back.
Do you remember the energy crisis of the 70s? A lot of people can. We came up with it. They got city money and increased the best way to insulate the wall cap so that your house will be great. I know even if your walls were previously in, the best way to perform it would be a the best way to help our country qualify for themselves and rebuild. 43 years later, a lot has changed. A lot of our competition and using the past were still family owned and operated, still developed. We are still taking energy from saving our country. Best way installation, founded in 1976. 303 469 0808. That's 303 469 0808. Big responsibility.
Guys, welcome back to Real Truth. It is Thursday. This will be the last broadcast of the week. By the way, if you're looking for something to read tomorrow and over the weekend, I can't think of a better choice than the book Real Truth, Stay Angry, penned by yours truly. Nearly 600 pages that will tell you who's conspiring with whom, why, how they're doing it, what their end game is, and how we can defeat it. And if you think that's not important, you need to think again. Now, what do you say when you have nothing to say? It's easy. You say, racism! Just ask any Democrat. Democrats have nothing positive or constructive to say to Americans, and so they scream racism. Wait, if you hang around long enough, some Democrat will scream racism at you too. Doesn't matter if you're really a racist. Doesn't matter. They'll say it. There's no one I'd love to scream racist about more than, of course, the president, Donald Trump. Well, there's only one thing wrong with that, and that's that the president is not a racist, never has been. Here is Fox Business with Housing and Urban Development Secretary Ben Carson being interviewed about Trump's tweets and about racism in general, about Donald Trump in specific. Here we go.
Someone came up to him and he said,
Hang on, sweetie. Let me talk to this Fox Business chick who's interviewing Ben Carson. Now, I don't know her name. She's very, very pretty. I don't know what bearing that had on her getting hired. I wasn't there. But you can keep saying, no, I want to ask about racism. First, you need to explain to me where the racism was. Donald Trump said in a tweet that if they hated America as much as they obviously do, they should go somewhere. They should leave. They should find another country to live in. What's wrong with that? Only makes common sense. And where in there is any race mentioned? Was he talking about Caucasians? Talking about Asians? Talking about blacks? Talking about Native Americans? Well, the answer is yes. He was talking about everybody. If someone is going to come here and sit in Congress and be anti-Semitic and be anti-American and slam America at every opportunity and slam the American people at every opportunity, who needs them? Why do the America haters want to be here? There was zero racism in those tweets. I happen to know because I read them. But I do hear lots of racism drooling out of the mouths of Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, and yes, even the other two, Presley and Cortez. You know, they were screaming, the Democrats and the media, screaming about Russian collusion for 3 years. And there was Russian collusion from the Democrats, from Hillary and the DNC. I didn't hear a peep about that. So, folks, don't believe what you hear on the media. And even on Fox Business, I don't know who this girl is. I don't know how she got her job. But she's trying to generate ratings the wrong way. She figures she keeps saying racism. The people listening will go, oh, what'd she say? Wrong. There was no racism, and Secretary Carson is making that abundantly clear. Now let's talk a little bit more about racism. We had a black president for 8 years. He did roughly nothing for black Americans, not because I say so, but because I've heard many black Americans say that. We used to have a president named Bill Clinton. You know, the guy with his pants down around his ankles? Well, he was widely advertised as being, quote unquote, the first black president. He didn't do very much for black Americans at all. I don't think any president has done as much for black Americans as Donald Trump has. And you go on TV and you listen to black Americans and thinkers and professors and economists and government officials say that. Unless you want to tell me that Ben Carson, who is black, hates blacks. Here's the next question. Let's see how we fare with this one. Before Secretary Carson answers, let's look at some more racism, shall we? Fox Business brought on Secretary Carson, who is working very, very hard to accomplish a lot of things across the United States. Why is it whenever he's on TV, it's to talk about race? Why don't they bring him on to talk about HUD and the policies and the programs that he's implementing? Why bring on a black man to talk about race? Does that mean a white person's viewpoint is illegitimate? Isn't this a form of mild racism? Here's Ben Carson.
Yeah, I think
Exactly correct. Doing is always more powerful and more important and more needed than saying. Talk is cheap. Actions speak louder than words. I can throw these bromides out at you all day. Forget about what you hear on the media, because they all lie. They're all propaganda. Forget about what Democrat politicians will tell you, because they lie, and if they didn't, they wouldn't be successful politicians. They have to lie to get into office. Actions speak louder than words. Look at all the things that Donald Trump is doing for the African American community, for the Hispanic community, real solid things. Getting those people off of welfare, off of food stamps, creating jobs. Lowest black unemployment in America ever in the history of this country. Lowest Latino, Hispanic unemployment ever in the history of this country. Lowest Asian unemployment ever in the history of the United States of America. So again, where is the racism? The racism is in the media, in the media's imagination, and in the fervent hopes and wishes of Democrats who have absolutely nothing useful to say to America.
when we try to
My friends, that is what you call a Republican. An intelligent, mature adult saying, let's solve real problems with real solutions. You leave the lies and the slander and the insults and the accusations, you leave that to the Democrats, because what the hell else are they going to say? They've got nothing. They've got no economic plan. They've got no plan for border security. In fact, just the opposite. All they can do is name call. You remember, I don't know how old you are. I'm as old as the hills. Remember when you were in school, first grade, second grade, third grade? You'd call each other names, right? Okay, well, that's age appropriate. That's what young children do. Young children and Democrats, liberals.
Are ahead in the game, and I really think that's what the American people want to hear, and that's what the minorities want to hear. That's what I've heard from them. I was with a minority this weekend who said, "I really am impressed with the things that this administration is doing," but they said, "I won't say that out loud, and I won't say it to people because I don't want to be ostracized and have my family attacked." But I think that,
And that's another charming facet of the liberal mindset. You're free to say anything you want, they'll tell you. But what they're thinking is, if they say anything I don't like, I will savage them. I'll try and destroy their career, their family. I'll insult them personally. I'll try and wreck them in any way possible because they are not allowed to disagree with me because I'm a liberal. Folks, maybe this is the perfect time in America to expunge this poison, which is killing this country. It's killing this country.
might not be such a rare opinion.
Secretary Carson, what does that mean for the ballot box as we head into 2020? Because an obvious line has been drawn. Does it help, hurt either sides?
Repeat that again, please.
The ballot box for 2020, the presidential race, with this back and forth across racial lines, telling minorities, according to some liberal commentators, to go back to where they came from.
Yeah, that's wrong. Now, this woman who's speaking is Asian, and she's not overly bright. Again, she's going back to race. Now, all these commentators on TV, they've got a little receiver in their ears, and so the producer can speak to them while they're talking. I have no doubt that some producer back in the control room was saying to her, bring it back to race. Say racism. Get the conversation back on racism. Now, I wouldn't expect this from Fox Business, but a lot of things happening on the Fox networks that take me by surprise recently, so who knows? So this chick is going to go back to racism when it's already evident and clear and obvious that there was no racism. In fact, race was never involved until the Democrat politicians, the Four Stooges, began talking about race.
Yes, I mean, we're saying that.
Aha! Yeah, those are very wise words from Secretary Carson. Folks, do yourself a favor. Go on Google and just type in Trump accomplishments. Just do that. If you're a Democrat, if you're a liberal, ask someone who can read to do it for you. And then look at all the links that come up and read them. Read them at length. Look at them. Spend a little bit of time doing it. It's vital. Trump has accomplished more in 2.5 years than most presidents did in 1 or 2 full terms. He's accomplishing, he's doing, he's keeping his promises, and the Democrats keep screaming racism. Good luck to them. We'll be back.
Between 1965 and 1975. If so, may have a fighter who came to the United States. These homes are about 50 years old now. Before such and collected and do appraisals, which is smart for the purposes should it otherwise. We are coordinated yet Colorado recognized by good dealer, and because we have a lot of big box stores, we can beat big box stores like most of the other forget. And we have the lowest interest rates in Northern Colorado. Half of what the corporate stores charge if you're doing it well. Come and see us. Your grandpa's mom and dad, if you love God, if you love gold, come and see us. Check us out on the web, www.grandpa'smom.com or 303-772-7952. Before hiring a realtor, a big corporation who outsources their job and pays little to no tax, ask yourself, what do you need a realtor? You need a realtor that has integrity. A realtor is focused on the client's side, not the realtor's side. It provides first over-the-top service before, during, and after the transaction. You want a realtor that knows how to market your property. Hi, I'm James Gordon, a realtor with Grisham and Associates LLC. I am your Colorado real estate specialist. Land deals, mountain cabins, or urban dwellings, I've got you covered. For the first-time home buyer, we will make it the best experience. If you are looking to move up or downsizing, we will do better than your last transaction. Call me today at 720-203-0731 or visit coloradoproperties.online. Let me do a great job for you.
Hi, folks. Welcome back to Real Truth. Howard Real, author of Real Truth Stay Angry, which you should most definitely buy at virtualbookworm.com. Or if you want, you can go to Amazon.com, BarnesandNoble.com. Wherever you go, get it. It's a great read and an important read. Now, I'm responding to the millions of texts and emails I get from my many Muslim listeners around the world who say, Howard, you don't talk enough about Islam. We want to hear about the religion of peace. And I'm like, okay, fine. If my listeners want to hear it, I will. So here's a video from PragerU asking the question, is Islam a religion of peace? I was raised a practicing Muslim and remain one for almost half my life. I attended a madrasa that is Islamic and memorized large chunks of the Quran. As a child, I lived in Mecca for a time and frequently visited the Grand Mosque. As a teenager, I sympathized with the Muslim Brotherhood. After 22 years, when my family was living in Kenya, my father eventually married a people outside of Islam, and now that I depend on it. I graduated, made my way to college, studied hard, and eventually was accepted at the university of Chicago. Now I live in the United States. I decided to see Islam from the inside and outside. I believe that reform of Islam is necessary and possible. And being a Muslim, I make it a reality. But we in the West cannot remain on the sidelines as though the outcome of the struggle has nothing to do with it. If the jihadists win and the hunt for a reformed Islam dies, the rest of the world may prove a terrible prize. The failed attempts in New York, London, Madrid, Paris, and many other places are only a preview for what's to come. For this reason, I believe that it's foolishly to think, as Western leaders habitually do, that the violent acts committed in the name of Islam can temporarily immerse the true religion in film. The rather than think, my message is this simple: Islam is not a religion of peace. When I said this, I do not mean that Islam remains meant all Muslims violent. This is manifestly not the case. There are many real and peaceful Muslims in the world. Ayano, hang on one second. Not every German was violent during the 20s and 30s and 40s. So what? Not everyone who lived in the same country as Pol Pot was violent. So what? Not every white nationalist, not every KKK member is violent. So what? Not every neo-Nazi is violent. So what? Islam is violent, even if there are individual Muslims who aren't. And for that reason, the world needs to quarantine it.
I do say is that the call to balance
Hang on one second. I love the phrase theologically sanctioned violence. Folks, if you believe in God, what is there that God wants you to do that you won't do? If you're a true believer, an ardent religious person, when God says do something, you'll do it. So if the Quran says commit heinous, horrifying acts of violence, conquer the world, well, that's what Muslims are going to do, and that's what they've been doing. Show of hands. Oh, I forgot I'm on radio. How many people out there have actually read the Quran? How many people out there have read books about Islam? Like, for example, Robert Spencer, who's been a guest on this show many times. In fact, I'm planning on having him back soon. Have you studied up on Islam? Well, I certainly think you should. In fact, after they flew airplanes into the World Trade Center, I think you might want to take a crash course in Islam. It is anything but a tolerant religion.
to leave Islam.
Folks, note those words. Liberals and progressives make common cause with the people who are the greatest threat to humanity. So if you're a liberal, time to get smarter. If you're a progressive, time to get smarter. And if you're a Democrat, time to vote smarter.
In 2014, I was invited to
I wish that were true. It's not. Islam is not anywhere near a crossroads. As long as its holy book calls for violence, promotes hatred of Jews and Christians, as long as it promotes intolerance of other religions, and sees jihad as God's way, It's not going to be any reformation because they would have to completely get rid of the religion in the first place. And any Muslims who raise their voices against are threatened or killed. So I wish there was some kind of reformation, but let's do this. Maybe there will be a reformation. And I want it to take place outside the United States of America. It's not going to happen for a very, very, very long time. We'll be right back.
Season, traffic, bill, any attitude. I'm quite just doing a factor in traffic stuff. I find it that's zero point zero eight for the third website of traffic stuff. Servicing the whole life cycle of market and staff. Some targets direct me. So we can research 4 hours once a day with 1 hour once a time. So consider tracking with that. Beginner-friendly, approximately 8 hours under those staff price per student, $5 budget per student, all about discount for first of all, true, yeah, they're all pretty much free. Provides a greater than rare with quality for decades. We are an own preferred contractor, offering our customers only the best selection at the highest quality materials available on market. Our installers have decades of experience to make burgers, pizzas, salsa, care, quality craftsmanship. We also offer a 5-year workmanship warranty for all services and 5-year warranty for most products. A claim proofing is always available to handle any issue that may arise. A claim proofing, ground service online. Call us today, 303-592. That's 303-597-6663 for a free estimate or claim to proof. Or visit us claimproofing.com. Claimproofing.com. Information you won't find anywhere else. The Alex Jones Show, 50 KHNC. The heart of Northern Colorado, KHNC.
All right, guys, as long as we're talking about Islam, I listen to my listeners, and I got flooded with calls from my Muslim devotees. They want me to talk about Islam. Fine, I'm willing to do it. Here's a video I've played on the show several times before. It's Ben Shapiro addressing the myth, and it is only a myth, of the tiny radical Muslim minority. What he says is pure gold. I'll put it up on Facebook. Listen. And it's with reality. So the majority, in the words of the Muslims themselves answering these surveys, a majority of the Muslims in the world, well over 800 million Muslims, are okay with radical extremist acts, at least sometimes. I mean, you don't want to throw acid in a girl's face every day, once in a while. You don't want to honor kill your daughter more than once. I mean, how would you even do that? Sometimes suicide bombings are okay. Maybe not on Sundays because I take the family bowling on Sundays. But sometimes you can blow up a supermarket. It's okay. More than half of the Muslims around the world say themselves that they support extremist activities. So the next moron who comes to you and says, well, you know, the large majority of Muslims, they're peaceful, tolerant people, tell that person, Howard Real says you're a moron, and Muslims the world over say you're a liar. We'll come back and we'll finish off the week. This is Real Truth.
Hey, Howard, are you able to hear any of that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're good. We're good to go.
All right, one more second. I think this Team America is slowly sinking. Whose fault is it? It's not the Obamas, it's not Republicans or Democrats. It's not corporations, the military of foreign countries. It's the Federal Reserve. Central banking system made up of private bankers and corrupt bankers in all aspects of the world's money supply and economy. All of the major problems of the world trace to the Federal Reserve and central banks of other countries. Hi, I'm Kenny with the Colorado Trumpet. Catch my show with co-host Brian here on KHNC 3 to 4 Monday through Friday. We sell gold and silver, the best way to protect your hard-earned money. Call 800-951-0592 and keep those blood-sucking bankers out of your wallet. Higher rates, lower rates, negative rates, bail-ins, bail-outs, and so much more. You know why you need to hold gold and silver. At the Patriot Trading Group, we're a different kind of company. We have no commission sales people, no boiler room sales calls, no high-priced spokesmen. We believe in treating you with honesty and respect and delivering you the best product at the best price. Buying or selling, call 800-951-0592 or go to our website at allamericangold.com.
Item from the Miami Herald, one of the largest protests in Puerto Rico's history, erupted into violent clashes late Wednesday night between demonstrators who said they will keep coming back to demand the governor's resignation and officers in riot gear who shot tear gas and rubber bullets into the packed crowd. Some protesters threw firecrackers, bottles of water, beer, and glow sticks at the officers barricaded around the governor's home. Portions of the crowd called for others to stop inciting violence, leading chants like, "No tyrann, stop throwing," as tensions boiled over between rioters and police. Unquote. Oh yeah! By all means, let's make Puerto Rico the 51st state. Item from Reuters. Dateline, Sir Baher on the West Bank. Israeli plans to demolish Palestinian homes near a military barrier in the outskirts of Jerusalem have drawn international criticism amid Palestinian fears that a precedent would be set for other buildings along the barrier route. unquote. My friends, I do not believe that Israelis should be destroying Palestinian homes. First of all, there's no such thing as a Palestinian. Second of all, what the hell are we doing with Palestinian homes on Jewish land? The Palestinians should be gone. And then there's nothing to destroy. Item from Reuters, Dateline DC. U.S. Secretary of State Mike Pompeo on Thursday called China's treatment of its Uyghur Muslim minority the, quote, stain of the century, and accused Beijing of pressuring countries not to attend the U.S.-hosted conference on religious freedom. Stop. Mike Pompeo is a very, very smart man, but here he is wrong. What China is doing is taking control of Islam so that it doesn't try and conquer China, doesn't make inroads in China. Don't start seeing things blowing up in China. China wants to survive, and I tip my hat to them because what they're doing to Islam is the second best thing of all. Of course, the first best thing is to get them out of the country altogether. But as long as they're there, free education, or in this case, free re-education, is a good call. Item from CNN. Soon there will be no more manholes in the city of Berkeley, California. There will also be no more chairmen, no manpower, no policemen, and no policewomen. No, that doesn't mean the whole city be without community leaders. It means the words that imply a gender preference will be removed from the city's codes and replaced with gender-neutral terms. The city voted Tuesday night to replace gender terms like manhole and manpower with gender-neutral ones like maintenance hole and human effort. The item passed without discussion or comments and was not controversial, said Berkeley City Council member Rigel Robinson. There's power in language, he said. This is a small move, but it matters. My friends, getting rid of the word manhole. Are people really damaged by the word manhole? I mean, come on. And on top of that, we finally have a gay man running for president. You think he's going to go the rest of his life without using the word manhole? Item from AP, U.S. overdose deaths finally stopped climbing last year. They apparently fell a little bit, the first such decline in nearly 3 decades. Altogether, my friends, thank you, President Trump. I'll see you on Monday. Stay safe, stay healthy, stay angry.